All right. Welcome back to Montreal, where we have a lot to do today. We got a lot on our plate. The trade deadline is upon us, and Twitch Iserman and I have been through, and we have kind of figured out what our general plan is going to be. So we look at this team. You look at it on paper, and you say this team generates so much offense, it's almost off the charts. Unfortunately, this team generates next to zero offense. For some reason, we are just not getting the production that we were getting last season. And my theory is that Patrick Kane had the intangibles. He had the veteran presence, he had the leadership, he had been there before, 3 Stanley Cups already. Patrick Kane just had, he had it. And now that he's not around, this team just forgot how to score. So in the last episode, I thought that our big problem was lack of goaltending. So I went out and acquired Dan Vladar, excuse me, from the Calgary Flames, and he did fix our problem. He breached a bit of a hole that we had, or he patched a bit of a hole that we had. So Vladar is a welcome addition, but at the trade deadline, I want to shake up the offensive group. So Twitch Iserman and I have been through, and we have identified 3 players that we would be okay with moving at this trade deadline, and that would be Claude Giroux, Kirill Marchenko, and Max Pacioretty. And the reason that we are moving these guys is because they do not fit into our newly established Stanley Cup window, and they also are not producing at the clip that we had hoped that they would. And another thing that we did is we went through the entire league. It took us like 45 minutes, but we went through and we identified 10 potential targets that we want to go after at this year's trade deadline. And I want to show some of them to you right now. So, the big theme of this year's trade deadline is going to be shaking up the offense. We got to kickstart our boys, and we got to kickstart them fast. So the first guy that we kind of identified as a potential dude is none other than from the Minnesota Wild, Mats Zuccarello. So you look at this guy and you think 44 points, that's really great. But then you look at his cap hit and it's $7 million. Now we're a little bit strapped for cash. We're not super strapped for cash, but 7 mil for any team is quite the investment, only if it's for half of a year. It does make sense for Minnesota to trade a guy like Zuccarello because they're 28 and 29. They're listed as sellers. They're trying to sell off pieces, and they even sold Eriksson Ek to us at the deadline. So Zuccarello is definitely a guy that we'd be interested in going after. The next fella is all the way over here in the great city of Las Vegas. Grand Prix last night. It's William Karlsson, one of my favorite players of all time. I love Wild Bill. I'm a Wild Bill truther. 42 points for him this year in 64 games. Last year, 45 points in 82. So he had a bit of a down year last year, but he's bouncing back this season. He fits in the top 6, which is perfect. We would put him in the center. We would move Kirby Dach to the wing, and it would just be a spectacular second line. The cap hit is a bit steep, 5.5 for 2 years. But if we're moving back a guy like Claude Giroux or like Kirill Marchenko to this team, then we're getting 4 or 6 mil off the books, and we're sending it to a team where they would be greatly appreciated. The only issue with Karlsson is that, unlike the Wild, the Golden Knights are trying to contend this year, 33, 23, and 8. So they are gearing up for a long playoff run. They are listed as buyers. I don't think they would be comfortable selling off a guy like Karlsson, but I guess we'll see on deadline day. Next fella we are thinking of going after is again one of my favorite players, Peyton Krebs. Love this guy, love him to bits. That cap hit is super swallowable. I would love to swallow that. Pause. Fits perfectly on the second line, which is perfect for us because we have a ginormous hole there. 31 points doesn't look super blow you out of the water, but compare that to what Giroux or Marchenko are doing, and it's just leaps and bounds better. The only issue with Peyton Krebs is the Buffalo Sabres are our division rivals. We are competing with them directly for a spot in the postseason. So if If this were real life, I don't think two teams in the position that we are and the Sabres are in, I don't think that they'd be making a trade in the first place, especially for key roster players. So Peyton Krebs, he's a guy to keep your eye on, but he's not a guy to get your hopes up for. Next fella is over on the Seattle Kraken, and there's actually two guys on the Seattle Kraken that I'd be interested in. The first one is Kailer Yamamoto with 27 points. I can't do math. It's a hard day for me. He fits perfectly on the third line, which is awesome because Marchenko for Yamamoto would be a great trade for us. And the next fella is Eli Tolvanen, 31 points. Bang, did that one off the top of my head. Fits in on the second line, and like I said before, we have a ginormous hole on the second line, especially removing a guy like Giroux. It does make sense for the Kraken to trade a guy like Yamamoto or a guy like Tolvanen because they're 25, 33, and 5. They're in the basement of the league. I think they're last in the Pacific Division, but I might be wrong on that. They are strapped for cash, and Eli Tolvanen is on the trade block. So Yamo and Tolvanen are guys to look out for. Um, I don't think there's any negatives to getting a guy like that. Besides the fact that we would have to trade roster players back to the Kraken, and they're listed as sellers, so I don't know if they would want to buy, but that's okay. We'll figure that out on deadline day. The next fella is over here on the San Jose Sharks. He is a winger, and his name is Victor Arvidsson. He has 45 points, which is almost 2 times what Marchenko has. Fits perfectly on that second line. He can even kill penalties for us, and it would only be for one more year. And if we really want to, we can extend him. Come the re-sign phase this summer. He does make sense to be traded because the Sharks have him on their block. They are listed as conservative seller, which is strange because they have a better record than the Knights, but they're conservative seller. Anyway, I don't make the rules. They have him on the block. They're listed as sellers. And then there's one more guy on the Sharks, David Perron, who is also on the block, who is also around for only one more season, and who is also putting up just about 40 points. So those are some of the guys that we've looked at. There are even more. I have them all written down. There's even more. But those are the guys who are going to get priority from me. Those are the guys who are going to be our first stop on deadline day. Check in on those guys, see if they're on the block, see what we can make happen. Out of those fellas, the people who I think that we have the best shot at getting would probably be Tolvanen, Arvidsson, and Perron, just because it makes sense for them to be moved. Their teams have them on the trade block already in the first place, and especially Tolvanen and the Kraken are not trying to compete, so they would love to get a guy like that off their books. Enough chit chat, enough blabber, enough yapping about. As I said, I think it was in year 2. Enough beating around the bush. Let's jump right into it. Game against the Capitals. I'm gonna go full buyer. Enter trade deadline. We're not gonna see if we won that game against Washington or not. That's fine. I don't really care about that anyway. But the first fella we are gonna check in on is gonna be Victor Arvidsson because, like I said previous, he is probably the guy who I think we have the best odds of acquiring. So they took him off the block, which is weird. Well, they got Zadorov too. Arvidsson and what was his name? David Perron. So in order to get a guy like Arvidsson, I would have to give up a guy like Marchenko. Please tell me they want him. Please. Oh, thank the Lord. And then because they're contending, I want to give them back a guy like Max Pacioretty. He's a bit of a actually yeah. We'll give him patches. We will give him patches just because he's a bit more of a tenured fella. You know, he's only making 3 mil. This is a team that's very strapped for cash. So Arvidsson fills our need on the second line, and then Perron fills our need in the bottom 6. So we can think about it like Arvidsson is replacing Marchenko, and then Perron is replacing Pacioretty. The reason I'm trading Marchenko to the Sharks instead of the Kraken is because he's the better player. The Sharks have a better record. Obviously, they want to go deep in the playoffs, and whoops, and the Kraken are not that. So We'll try this. They want both Marchenko and Pacioretty. We might have to add a little bit of a pick, but I'm going to hit propose trade before these guys get traded to another team. Boom. Trade rejected. Okay. Oh, and Matt Zuccarello is off the trade block. You can see that at the bottom. He just got moved to the Sharks. He just got moved to the Sharks. Let's try a 6th this year. Boom. Trade rejected. I gotta go quick. I gotta move quick. 6th and a 7th. Boom. Trade accepted. There we go. Victor Arvidsson and David Perron. Welcome to the Montreal Canadiens. Next guy we're gonna go after is Eli Tolvanen. I saved Claude Giroux for this team because I have a little bit more cap lenience. Let's see. Do we want Tolvanen or Yamo? I think I'm leaning Tolvanen. Second line, Yamo, third line. Okay, I'm going to go after Yamo because trading for Arvidsson is going to be on the second line, and then trading Marchenko opened up a hole on the third line. So we will trade for the third liner. This is where the big picks are going to have to come out. I'm thinking a third this year. And we'll go a second 2 years down the line for Yamamoto. The reason that I'm fine with giving up a second is because it's so far down the line that it doesn't really mean anything. But the Kraken are also a team that is selling. This team is selling off their players currently, and they're trying to acquire futures. And a second round pick is perfect type of future talk that I think it's going to resonate very well with the people of Seattle. I'm also going to retain. You know what? I'll go down to two mil. I'll go down to 2 mil on Claude Giroux, 33%, because it's only for half of the season, and hopefully by retaining some cap, the Kraken can go out there and make some new moves. So Claude Giroux, a third and a second for Kailer Yamamoto. Trade accepted. Bang. Bang. Let's go. That is so big, dude. That is so big. Sip of water to celebrate. That's how we celebrate around here. We get crazy. We have a sip of water, baby. Let's just see. Sidney Crosby is on the trade block. And teams interested apparently is us. I guess the game thinks that we aren't deep enough down the middle. But I assure you, I'm very deep. Patrick Kane is on the block. We wrote him down on the list just because his value was low and he was producing. But I don't think Kane. I don't think he makes very much sense. So, Gaudette, a third and a fifth, and Salo go to the Stars in exchange for that guy, a fifth, and Claxon. Tolvanen's still on the block. That's fine. We're not going to trade for him. Oh, okay. So we traded Giroux to the Kraken, and then immediately he gets put on the trade block. That's something. That is something. Charlie Coyle. Whoops, we went all the way back down to the start. Awesome. Sabres trade Samuelson, a third and a third to the Kraken in exchange for Tolvanen and Giroux. So Tolvanen goes to the Sabres. Oh, that's horrible. That is just horrible. That is just terrible. Let's have a look at their forward core now. So they have Thompson at a 93. Cousins at an 89, Skinner, Tuck, middle stats up to an 86 now. Krebs, Johansson, Tolvanen, Yarventi, and Giroux. Holy. Giroux was retained. Oh my god, if I didn't retain that money, they wouldn't have had enough cap space to get Giroux. Oh my god, I shot myself in the foot 2 different ways on that. Oh no. Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Let's see. Jeremy Swayman is an interesting proposition because he's an unsigned RFA. So if anybody were to trade for him, he wouldn't be able to play until next season. But I honestly would trade for him because he could be so good for us. I'm just spitballing here. I just want to see kind of what we would have to give up to get like Jeremy Swayman, because I wouldn't be opposed to that. Would not be opposed to that at all. So all the guys that they want, I'm not willing to give up. Would they take a third for him? No. Okay. Jeremy Swayman's out. I checked in on him a little bit earlier in the season, and he had a lot less value than that, but I don't know what made him so valuable sitting in the press box for the whole season. But that's whatever. Eric Holla. Now I'm kind of looking for a defenseman, just a guy like Ryan Suter who could just come in and and what the fuck did you just say to me? All right, bro. All right. That completely threw me off my game. Holy sh! I forgot what I was saying. I completely forgot what I was saying. Um, who's Cates? Two-way forward? No, that's fine. I don't need him. Um, I'm starting to look for defensemen now, just because our defensive core is good, but I think it can get a little bit better. But honestly, nobody that I'm seeing here is a big enough upgrade for me. Um, yeah, I think I got what I needed. I'm gonna be honest. I think I'm happy. Let's just see kind of who's gone where already. So Owen Beck gets moved to Boston. So we traded him to Dallas because it was out of our division. And then Dallas says, yeah, we're just going to trade him right back into the division 2 years later. Dadonov goes to Columbus. Obviously, Tolvanen and Giroux goes to Buffalo. Novoseltsev goes to Chicago. For Adam Gaudette goes to Dallas. Okay, okay. So Jake DeBrusk goes to Detroit. Ooh, that's yeah, 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 yeah. I don't like that. I don't like when Atlantic Division teams are stocking up on picks. So San Jose sold off Arvidsson and Perron, and then acquired Sonny Milano and Nick Jansen. That's a good trade. That's yeah, good philosophy. Um, oh yeah, and they also bought Zuccarello, which was weird. Vitek Vanacek goes to Colorado. So does Riley Smith. Okay, 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 okay. Let's see. Could I make a trade for Sidney Crosby? Let's just see. I feel like him being on the Habs makes so much sense. 62 points. Where does he fit on this team? Forward line 2. So I would have to trade 100,000%. If I'm trading for Crosby, I'm giving up Gooley. Or Doc, I mean. Because there's no way you can trade for a player like Sidney Crosby and not give up something. And then I would go like a third next year. And then... God, I'm trading away all my depth picks. So maybe I'll just trade another skater. Another, like Elias Anderson. How about that? That, honestly, might go through. Kirby Doc in a third for Crosby. Oh my god, I feel like that shouldn't be allowed. Like Sidney Crosby shouldn't be able to be traded for that much. How much can I retain on this? Let's start small. We'll start with 25. I think that might go through. Chat, what are we thinking? Twitch Iserman, tell me what are we thinking? Kirby Doc in a third for Crosby at 25% retained. The only issue I'm seeing with this trade is there's no guarantee that Crosby is coming back next year. But in the same boat, there's no guarantee that Kirby Doc is coming back next year. So, worst case scenario, we trade Kirby Doc and a third for half a year of Crosby. But best case scenario, we trade Kirby Doc and a third for half a year of Crosby and a Stanley Cup. You know what? I'm gonna cook it. I'm gonna cook it. No way! What the fuck? Oh my god! What the hell? That is probably the most cheese move I've ever pulled in the history of GM mode. That is crazy. Sid the Kid is a member of the Montreal Canadiens. Fuck you, Buffalo. Let's see you top that, you stupid bums. Oh my god. My life is complete. Like Buffalo cannot do better than that. Let's see. Duclair goes to the Islanders. Oshie goes to the Stars. Sidney Crosby goes to the Habs. That's a weird fucking trade. Cates goes to Vegas for Vladislav Gavrikov. Philip Gustafson and Sean Corrali to the Devils for a second and a fourth. Dude, the AI trade makes no sense in this game. Not a single AI trade has ever made sense. I should make that the thumbnail for this video. The Penguins just made another trade. I didn't see what it was. They get Zach Whitecloud for a second and a third. That's a good trade for them. Stockpiling defensemen after trading Sidney Crosby. I don't think Buffalo can top that. Like I don't think they can do better. Should go for John Carlson next. Fucking bring everybody in. Winnipeg Jets trade a second, 2 seconds to the Kraken for Alexiak Fleury on a third. John Carlson fits on all defensive pair. Oh my god, John Carlson is the perfect defenseman. What is that? 41 points? Breaking news, Buffalo Sabres acquire McDavid from the Oilers for Levi Power, Krebs, and a third. That's wild. That's wild. If we're trading for Carlson, we'd have to give up Reinbacher. Okay, maybe we won't have to give up Reinbacher. Maybe I'll give up like a Zach Jones type. And then and then Stranges? I kind of traded all the forwards that I wanted to move. I want Westgarth. I'll throw him in there just cuz. And then what about these guys? Okay, this would be cheese. This would be cheese. Zach Jones, Westgarth, PPZ, and Martinson for Carlson. That would be cheese. Just to make myself feel better about this, I'm gonna add in like a. I'll add in our second for this year. How many picks do we have next year? Like 0? Yeah, we have 3 picks next year. What do we think, Twitch Eiserman? This might be the craziest trade of all time if this goes through. Zach Jones, Westgarth, PPZ, Martinson in a sec. I mean, Twitch Eiserman said send it on Crosby. Are we sending it on Carlson too? Are we building a super team here in Montreal? No, no, you know what? No, I'm vetoing this. I'm vetoing this. I'm saying no. I don't care what Twitch Eiserman says. That's cheese if I get Carlson for that. And Crosby. You know what? You know what? I'll find trade Carlson. I'll find trade Carlson, and if they can show me something I like, I'll do it. I'll do it. No, 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 no. Okay, nope. Nope. Carlson is not going to become a member of the Montreal Canadiens. Bummer. Return first round draft pick. Yeah, they were expecting a first. I'm not giving up firsts for Crosby. I'm not even giving up first round picks for Sid the Kid. I think we're going to stand pat. I mean, there's only 2 minutes left, so even if we wanted to make a move, we couldn't. I'm sorry, Twitch Eiserman, for vetoing you, but that's just a silly trade. So Travis Sanheim goes to Arizona for 2 seconds and a prospect. Alexiak Fleury and a third to Winnipeg for 2 seconds. White Cloud to Pittsburgh, second and third to Vegas. Duclair and a fifth to the Islanders for Roslovic. I think I missed that one. Dallas gets Oshie, fourth and a fifth from LA in exchange for a third and a couple prospects. Crosby goes to Montreal for Kirby Dach and a third. Noah Cates and a third, and Foling goes to Vegas for Gavrikov and a fifth. Philip Gustafson and Corrali to the Devils for a second and a fourth. Owen Beck and Gardner. Oh, not Jake Gardner, Brad Gardner. Can you read? Ian Mitchell and Kerfoot back to Dallas. Maxime Mas and Pinelli to Penguins for Dadonov, Lomberg, and a fourth. Tolvanen and Giroux to Buffalo for Samuelson and two thirds. That guy a fifth, and Clarkson to Chicago. Third, Gaudette, and a couple others to Dallas. Yamo to us for Giroux, a third and a second. Caldwell, Markkanen, Vorobiev to Nashville for DeBrusk and Edmonton Oilers legend Caleb Jones. A couple prospects to Washington for Milan and Appleton. Oh, Mason Appleton gets moved. And then Vitek Vanacek and Riley Smith to Colorado for some picks and some prospects. So, kind of a busy trade deadline. If you remember, last year's trade deadline was a complete snoozer. Last year's trade deadline almost put me to bed. But this year's trade deadline was a huge step up. So, coming out of the trade deadline, our lines look a little bit like this. We got Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield on that first line with a +5. Farrell, Crosby, and Arvidsson on the second with a +5. Marchment gets bumped back up to the third line. He'll play with Eriksson Ek and Yamamoto with a +1. And then David Perron, Alex Newhook, and Sharon Govich with a net 0. The one thing I am a little bit bummed out about is Kirby Dach had to go. I think he could have been a big future towards this team, but Sidney Crosby is definitely going to help out in that quest for the back-to-back Stanley Cup championship. And because he's in a contract year, he's 38 years old. I don't think he'll be asking for that much in the offseason, so dare I say, there is a chance that we are able to re-sign Sidney Crosby in this offseason, but nothing is certain just yet. Defensively, we are rocking with Gooley, and Spooner is being promoted to the first line. Coleman and York on the second pair, and Chikrin and Jones are untouched. In between the pipes, we are going with Dan Vladar down the stretch just because he's been playing better than Hill. And when you have Crosby on your second line, hopefully you're scoring more goals than the opponent. So goaltending, cross your fingers that it's not as big of an issue in the second half as it was in the first. I will mention our power play is revolting. Caulfield, Suzuki, Farrell, Gooley, and Perron is nasty. And just when you look at that and you think that this is a filthy first power play unit, you go to the second power play unit and you have Arvidsson, Crosby, Slavkovsky, Jones, and Spooner. I don't even know what to say, dude. This team is criminal. This team is actually revolting. Sidney Crosby, pray to God that Sidney Crosby can be the next Patrick Kane on this team. The 1 year veteran rental. That was a little bit, just the tiniest bit cheesy to bring him in. But Crosby, there you go. He's on the team. With the new additions of Crosby, Arvidsson, Perron, and Yamamoto, you know we got a slow sim our first game. It is against the Carolina Hurricanes fired head coach Harvey Love. But our first game is against the Boston Bruins, the one game above 500 Boston Bruins, who for some reason are ass in this universe. But Sidney Crosby, his first game in the Bell Center as a member of the home team. Let's go. First period, boom. Short-handed goal on what I can only assume to be the best power play on paper in the league. We allow a short-handed goal. I'm not worried about it. It's only 1-0. Second period. Boom. Caden Gooley on the power play. There we go. Caden Gooley scores on the power play. Let's get into the third period here. I would love to see a goal from Crosby. I would love to see a goal from Crosby, Arvidsson, Yamo, or Perron. Any of the new acquisitions, just let me know that I did something, you know? Let me know that something was done. Maybe we'll go to overtime. Okay, we're going into overtime. All right, so in the first game post-deadline with our new acquisitions, we are in overtime, which means we got to watch that game, which means we get to see our players, new acquisitions out there on the ice. Here comes Spooner breaking it up to Caulfield. He gets bodied on the boards, but Spooner can't stay with it. Suzuki goes for the worst change I've ever seen. Gives Novak a breakaway. Oh, and he missed the net. Beautiful stuff, but McAvoy back to the point. Shot 5-hole, scooped up, and there he is. Sid the Kid, number 87 there in the red. What a beautiful sight that is. Spooner facing back pressure, gets crushed. He's still with it, though. He's still with it as Spooner gets it behind the net. Crosby trying to set up Spooner. Shot is saved by Phoenix Copley, who found his way onto the Boston Bruins. That's probably why they're so bad in this universe. Let's get that. I did my line change a little bit too late, but whatever. TSB is leading the league in penalty minutes. That's wild. Here we go. Crosby with the face-off, loses it. Bummer. But on that forecheck, nope. Can't make anything happen. It was Marchand. He just gets by everybody. But thank God Crosby is there. The Selke winner. Just an absolute stud, Sidney Crosby. McAvoy alone in the slot. So who let him get that shot off? Because you... Oh, man. You're on thin ice, pal. Let's get... Okay, I'm a little bit too late with these line changes, but that's okay. We'll keep D2 in there. Alright, let's go. Let's go, boys. Quick face-off win. Okay, dude, we just can't win a face-off. It's costing us big time here. We just cannot get these face-offs won. Hopefully, Suzuki can get something done here against Pavel Zacha. The best face-off man in the league, obviously. There he goes. Back to Chychrun, and immediately loses the puck to Zacha again. Love that. Okay. To pass the puck through, and then you choose the one lane that puts the team offside. Love that from Jacob Chychrun. Again, I'm late with the line changes. That's okay. The game knows what I want. They put the second line out there. It's Crosby and the young gun Farrell. Loses the face-off. Dude. I never thought I would see Sidney Crosby lose so many face-offs to Pavel Zacha before. But here we are. Somebody's going to get this shot off, and it's going to go in. I know it. I know it is. Oy, big save by Hill. That is clutch. All right, I'm not slow in the line changes this time. Forward 1, D1. Can we get the puck out of the zone for more than half a second this time, boys? I would love a face-off win from Nicholas Suzuki. Pray. My fingers are crossed. There we go, boys. Back to Spooner, who immediately loses the puck, bro. Like, come on. Guys, what am I seeing? Novak walks in, and of course he scores. Of course he scores, man. You can only turn over the puck so many times before the other team just walks in and scores. What an awful display that was. We'll just sim up to Crosby's first game against the Penguins in his lifetime. There we go. 5 goals against the Hurricanes. That's what I built this team to do. If you trade for Sidney Crosby, Victor Arvidsson, Kailer Yamamoto, and David Perron, and you score 1 goal? Brutal. First period of Sidney Crosby's first game against the Penguins, and it's 1 goal, and it's Kailer Yamamoto. That better not be the only goal we score tonight. I'll be heated. Second period. There we go. We got 2. Arvidsson and Gensel for them. Third period. Come on, Crosby. Oh! Bang, dude. You call him out by name, he gets it done on the power play. Sidney Crosby, in his first game against the Pittsburgh Penguins, scores on the power play from the hashies. Guys, please, guys. Guys, please, don't go to overtime again. I don't want to see that shit again. Please don't do this. Oh my God. Well, for 3-on-3 overtime again, where this team just loves to torture me. Keegan Spooner on the puck over to Caulfield now, breaking it in. This is our first time in the zone that we've seen, and immediately the puck is turned over to Jake Gensel. Malkin and somebody. Oh my God. That might be the worst thing I've ever seen. Okay, it all starts in the offensive zone. when Caulfield decides to pass the puck here instead of just skating it in and getting a shot. Look at this. Look at this. Suzuki, who is just barely in the zone, facing back pressure from Malkin and Gensel, a guy who has open ice in front of him, but is rapidly losing it because he had to stop up at the blue line, and these guys have full momentum. So yeah, pass Suzuki the puck. Pass Suzuki the puck. And then Suzuki, now at this point that he receives the puck, both Malkin and Gensel have caught up to him. He decides that instead of working it in, trying to set up, skating into this beautiful acreage that is probably on Zillow for $10 million, instead of skating over there and setting up, getting a shot, he decides he's going to throw it back, no look, between his legs to the defenseman who just entered the zone. But I guess you didn't see the big 5'9", Jake Gensel, directly in the way, ready to intercept the puck, and then skate it back the other way. And now you got the defenseman. What are you doing, brother? Why are you here? When the puck gets turned over in the offensive zone, your job is to defend. You should not be forechecking ever, especially when there's already a forechecker on the man. Okay, whatever. I'll forget about it because you're obviously going to get the puck back here, right? Nope, you get burned. You get absolutely burned by Jake freaking Gensel. Oh my god, dude. And then the puck goes all the way back the other way, and now Malkin and Carlson have got a 2-on-1 against the fucking 4'7" monster himself, Cole Caulfield. He wears comes back in. Caulfield, buddy, I know you're not a defenseman, but this poke check is brutal. And then to get burned like that? Are you serious, man? Like, are you joking? You're on a 2-on-1. Defender on a 2-on-1 is to play the pass. The goalie covers the shot. The goalie can't cover the pass. There's only one defenseman. That's your job. Everybody who has ever even seen hockey skates before knows that rule. So instead of playing the pass, you get absolutely burned by a deke that I've been pulling off on NHL games since I was like 7. How do you get burned, brother? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what is this, man? And then the puck goes off to Carlson. It's a 2-on-0. Pass comes over. Malkin receives it on his forehand. He's got, again, with these beautiful acreages on Zillow for $10 million to shoot at, moves it to his backhand for some reason. It would be so much easier to just move the stick over a little bit instead of moving the puck onto the backhand. And you see it on the backhand, and Adden Hill goes, oh, this will be the easiest shot of all time to save. Just kidding. Adden Hill doesn't have eyes, and that goes past him. That goes under his blocker. Like, what is this effort from you, buddy? Are you serious? And then in the net. My God. I don't really know what to say about that. That was absolutely pathetic, if I had to say anything. But we're just going to sim up to our first game against Pittsburgh on the road. Hopefully this one isn't going to go to overtime. 5 goals, and then 2 goals against. 5 goals for, 7 goals for. I love that. 1 goal for, 7 goals for. This team is weird, man. This team is weird, man. When we score like 5 goals. 5 goals. 5 goals, 7 goals, 7 goals, 7 goals again. But when we can't score, we just get walked all over. We just get walked all over. This team is so weird, man. This team is so weird. That's exactly it. On paper, this team should never lose. But Sidney Crosby, perennial choker, obviously. Rust, Arvidsson, and Gensel, and we're losing again, bro. If this team doesn't win a cup, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Second period, there we go. Tie it up. Suzuki and York for us. Carlson on the power play for them. Who took it? Who took the penalty? Gooley. Shit's sake. Alright. Second period. Or third period, sorry. Do not go to overtime. Please, for the love of God. Do not go to overtime. Victor Arvidsson, thank you very much. Is that his second of the night? I think it is. I think I would go insane if I had to watch another overtime game, but Suzuki, he's got my back, man. He's got my back. He says, we're not going overtime. Okay, we're going overtime. 100% we're going overtime. Okay. Big regulation win against the Penguins. They, I believe, are fighting for a playoff spot as well. Let's see. Yeah, they are 2 points out of the second wild card, so that is a big win against the Penguins. We are just gonna go. I guess there's not really much more we can go. So we are gonna go into the end of the month against Ottawa, 6-3 win. I love when we win games. We win by like 275 goals. But when we lose games, I mean, did we even show up to the rink? Anyway, let's check in on some of these stats. Suzuki is on 89 points, and then it's Crosby, and then it's Caulfield. So last year we had, was it 3 point per game guys? I think it was. How much did Suzuki have last year? 105, yeah. So we had 3 point per game fellas last year. Slavkovsky might have actually been point per game too. 65. Wow, couldn't be further from the truth. But this year we have 2, and Caulfield is knocking on that doorstep. So pray for him. And then after that it goes Farrell, Arvidsson, Slavkovsky, Perron, who has more points than Eriksson Ek, which is a little bit concerning, but I'm not worried about it. Yamamoto, Newhook, Marchment, and Sharangovich. We almost have everybody in the forward core over 20 points. So that would be big. Defensemanly, Spooner, Coleman, Chikrin, Gooley, and Still, Jones and York. Since we started the sim, however, Jones and, or not, Gooley has more points than Jones. Oh my god, that is huge. Oh, that's big. That's big. Alright, anyway, since we started the sim today, Gooley and York both have 6 points and 7 points respectively in, I don't know how many games. I guess we can just go over to Crosby and we can tell. Okay, in 12 points, Crosby has, or in 12 games, Crosby has 9 points with us. That's big. But York has 6 and Gooley has 7, so that's big. That production is ramping up. I think putting them with Spooner, putting Gooley with Spooner, and then York with Coleman was big. That was the right move. That was the right move. As far as goaltenders go, Danny Vladar has kind of come down to earth a little bit as far as his numbers go. He is 3-0 so far after the sim, which I don't know why Adden Hill is getting the majority of the starts. Like, I really don't know. But yeah, his numbers are a little bit more pedestrian. But I just want to make sure he is starting, because he should be. Because that would be silly if he isn't. Yeah, it's Daniel. It has always been Daniel, and it will always be Daniel. I'm a Dan Vladar truther. That's what I am. I am a Dan Vladar truther. One thing as well is I'm going to move Farrell up to the first line because he's got more points than Slavkovsky, and it's as easy as that. That is my entire thought process. So let's just sim to the end of the season. Final game against Boston. Actually, let's go to this game against Buffalo. 3-2 win, that's big. 2-1 win, that's big. 3-1. Okay, here we go. We're starting to put some wins together now. We are starting to put some wins together now. It only took us until the trade deadline to start playing like a good hockey team. But we're better now. First period against Buffalo. Boom, 2-0. Marchment and Sharangovich. Okay, there's no way Sharangovich doesn't have 20 points by now. That's big. Second period. Boom, 5-1. Let's go. Big offensive outpouring with Crosby, Coleman, and Caulfield for us. And then trade deadline acquisition. Eli Tolvanen for them. Let's go third period. Third period. We're out shooting them. I love to see that. I love to see that. Come on, boys. Just don't choke this, right? Like, it should be the easiest game of all time to not choke. There goes Sean Farrell on the power play. He's the best. He's the best. If this were his rookie season, he'd win the Calder. He's the GOAT. All right, there we go. 6-1 win against Buffalo. That's huge. I know we're already clinched the playoffs. I think they might be as well. But any win that we can get over them is huge. Oh yeah, they're second in the division. Whee! So that was a bigger game than I thought. But the President's Trophy winning New York Rangers, I don't think anybody can catch them. Nope. Nobody can catch the Rangers. So we beat them 5-4. And now we gotta play them again. What do we got? 2-0 loss. Okay. And a 4-2 loss. Awesome. I don't know how this team gets shut out, bro. I don't know how this team gets shut out. But we finished the season with 106 points. We win the Atlantic Division for the second year in a row. Unfortunately, no President's Trophy. But you take what you can get with this team, I guess. Let's see our season-ending points. So Suzuki with 99. He was one short of 100. That sucks. Caulfield with 83 is point per game. Crosby with 82 is also point per game. I'm really hoping this guy comes back next year. I'm really praying to God this guy comes back next year. Then Farrell, deadline acquisition, Victor Arvidsson is tied with Slavkovsky. How did RV do for us? 13 points in 19 games. That is beautiful. And what about Crosby? 16 points in 19 games. God, I love that, man. I love that. Perron, 47 points, 9 points in 19 games. You know what? He's on the fourth line, so that's actually kind of incredible what he's done for us. And Yamo, 10 points in 19 games. I love it, man. I love it. I don't love that Coleman finished with more points than Eriksson Ek, but we don't have to talk about that. Sharangovich did not finish the season with 20 points. That's so sad. That is so sad. Whoops, I meant to do defenseman. So Gouli got up to 19 points. Last year, he had 30. The year before that, 29. And he just fell right off, man. He just fell so far off a cliff. It's kind of incredible what happened to this kid. And then York finished with 18. I accidentally hit B because I'm a stupid idiot. Whoops, I did goalies again. And then York had 18. So York surpassed Zach Jones in points. Ooh. Zach Jones, buddy, is your job in jeopardy? Is your job in jeopardy? I don't know. I don't know. As far as goalies go, Dan Vladar with a 909 264, and then Hill with the 903 288. So Vladar is 100% going to be our playoff starter, at least to start it out. If it starts to get a little bit shaky, I'm confident in Hill just for his performance that we got from him last year. But I think Vladar is going to give us the best shot right out of the gate, so we'll start off with him. As far as the whole entire league goes, Kucherov put up 120 points. Good lord. And then McKinnon, Kaprizov. Why did I say that weirdly like that? It's Kaprizov. You stupid shit. Panarin, McDavid, Rantanen. So many 100-point guys. I'll tell you what, Laine and Goudreau are not getting 100 points in real life. Whoo-wee! Freaking Matt Boldy? Matt Boldy put up 100 points? Way to be, kid. He got more points than Bedard. Oh, my lord. Dude, I'm interested. Next season, this offseason, is a Bedard contract season. Okay, we got to keep up with that. Where is Bedard going to go? What is going to happen to Connor freaking Bedard? That was his best season by a landslide. 50 goal year for Bedsy. Way to be. He's up to a 95. Holy shit. Holy hell. Ovechkin put up 60. Ovechkin's not going to win the Maurice Richard. But Kent Johnson with 98 points. He's up to a 91. Way to be, Kent. Way to be, kid. As far as defensemen go, how is this Adam Fox kid doing? Carlson's going to get the Norris. 109 points is crazy. 97 for McCarr, and then Fox with 85. So he puts up 80, takes steroids for a year, and drops 114, and then stops doing steroids, and he goes back to 85. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Oh, Carlson dropped the 20-goal campaign. So did Quinn Hughes. Way to be. Way to be. Where did our favorite defenseman, Jeremy Coleman, rank in terms of the Calder vote? James Yamamoto, brother, fake brother of Montreal Canadiens legend, Kyler Yamamoto. He's probably going to win the Calder unless there's a rookie goalie who just went crazy. No. You remember Michelani? This guy, when we checked in first, he was like 3-0 with like 2 shutouts, and he had like a 960 save percentage. Turns out not sustainable over a full season, which is kind of crazy. So it looks like James Yamamoto is going to get that Calder. Gary Hunter, Willem Dufour, Nestenko Sokolov. So Coleman got 2 for 7th. 2 for, yeah, 2, 4, 5, 6. I can't, dude, I can't do math. I actually can't do math. Kovalchuk is 44 points, good enough for 6th in the Calder race. Good stuff. Braden Tracy's here. Love that. Oh, there's a Virkanen. Fucking bum. Who is going to win the Vezina? Let's see. Minimum. I want to see minimum of 40. Minimum 40 games played for the Vezina. Boom. 916 for Demko. He played in 70 games. That's wild. And then a 284 for Devin Levi. Wow, good season for Devin Levi. Adden Hill actually finished with the 4th best goals against in the entire league. That's kind of wild. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of crazy. I guess Vladar's not gonna be here because he didn't get 40 games played, but he'd probably be up and around there. So probably Demko or Levi for the Vezina. I feel like that'd go either way. But holy shit, what a year from Colin Delia. 36, 9 and 4. You put up a 909, 297. What a year from Colin Delia. Holy smokes. Team standings. Did we improve at all at scoring goals? Because that is very important to winning hockey games, believe it or not. So the Rangers, best offense in hockey, 398 goals for per game. And then the team who we beat out in the Stanley Cup Finals last year, the Oilers, are 3rd. Ducks are poised to make a deep run. We are not in the conversation. Are we the worst offensive playoff team? Yep. I don't know how that all works out, but somehow we are the team with the worst offense to make the playoffs. Did the Sharks make the playoffs? I have to know. Because they were... Yep, they did. There you go. They were some buyers at the deadline, so thank goodness the Sharks made the playoffs. Let's see. Goals against per game. We are definitely up there. Yep, 2nd in the league. So we are bottom 10, bottom 15 offensive team in the league, but we are top 2 defensive team. Love to see that. How was our power play? Not good at all. And not good at all. That is bottoms for sure. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We are 13th worst. Oh, jeepers. Okay. What about our penalty kill? Oh, 12th. We are 12th for penalty kill. So we're middle of the road special teams. Top 2 defense and top 15 offense. So we're a pretty middling team as far as stats go. But in terms of like an actual roster, we should be poised for a deep run. Like Suzuki, Caulfield, these guys are high overall. Crosby is a 3-time Stanley Cup winner in real life. Arvidsson is a beast. Slav and Farrell obviously are beasts. Marchment, Eriksson Ek, and Newhook. We are so deep down the middle. And then the defensive core is incredible on paper, but Gouli and York just don't know how to get points. So, bit of a weird team here. The stats say that we're pretty middling, but on paper we should be excellent. Are the awards updated? Because we can just power through those right now. They are not, I guess. Yep, awards are not updated. But we will take a look at the playoff tree really quickly. Who do we think we were playing in the first round? I believe. Is it the Lightning or the Penguins? I don't remember how the whole seeding system works, but Lightning or the Penguins would be my guess. We are facing off against the Panthers. Ooh. We faced them, I think it was in round number 2 last season, and we dispatched them in 6 games. I would say that we are a better team compared to last season than we. Let me restart that thought. I would say we are a better team this season than we were last season. So hopefully that can pan out. But the playoff tree looks like Colorado versus Winnipeg, Dallas versus the Blackhawks. We got the Battle of Alberta down there in round 1, and then the Ducks versus the Sharks. Over in the East, we got the Blue Jackets versus the Penguins. How many times have I seen that one before? The Rangers and the Lightning, the Sabres versus the Red Wings, and the Habs versus the Panthers. So the Sabres and the Red Wings are kind of the 2 teams that I'm worried about. The team that I am the most worried about, for sure, is the Rangers. If we are going to face them, it's going to be in the Eastern Conference Final again. So pray for me. I'm dying of thirst, but pray for me that we don't have to face the Rangers 2 years in a row, because we just narrowly got past them last year. I don't know how we're going to stack up this year, but we'll do a little bit of a playoff preview, and then we'll call her there. So really quick, let me just save the game, because I would have hate to have come all this way and then lose it like that. So save the game and then view lines. Let's check in on our good friends from the Sunshine State, the Florida Panthers. So Tkachuk, Barkov, Okposo is a new addition to this team. 1 year at 1.1. Some good veteran leadership there. Verhaeghe, Lundell, Denisenko were all around last year. Vogel is a new addition. Deneau and Luosterainen. I learned how to say his name. I couldn't say it last year, but I can say it this year. Eetu Luosterainen. Janssen Fjallby, I feel like, is new. Yep, he was in Winnipeg last year. Rodriguez and Colin White is also new. On the defensive end of things, Forsling and Bushkin. So their defense looks relatively unchanged from how I remember it. But their offense, they got Okposo is new, Fogle is new, Janssen, Fjallby, and White are new. So pretty much the same team that we faced off against last season. In between the pipes is Spencer Knight, who had an insane year. Oh, he only played 12 games. Hello? 12 games played on this screen. Click on it, 60. That's confusing. Anyway, 907, 286 for Spencer Knight. 34 wins on him in 60 games. So, this team could be a bit more of a challenge for us last year. I don't remember if Tkachuk and Barkov were at 96 and 94, but I feel like I don't remember them being that beastly. Anyway, it's like I said, this is pretty much the same team that we faced last year. The one thing I noticed is that this team just isn't as deep as we are. And I feel like that is something that I'm going to be able to say for just about every team that we're going to face in this postseason. Our key to success is our depth. And this Florida Panthers team has a Tkachuk, they have a Barkov, they have a Verhaeghe, and they have the 3 studs on the back end. And they have a stud between the pipes. But just as far as depth goes, we have them beat out. And that's how I think that we're going to win these games. Obviously, Tkachuk and Barkov are going to be scoring goals, but is actually Janssen Fjallby and Colin White, are they going to be scoring goals? I don't really think so. Thank you folks so much for watching. If you liked the video, smash like on the video below, and hit subscribe if you have not yet. And we will see you in the next one.